What is going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new week, and of course with it a brand new set of locals feature matches. So here in round one we have Phantom Knights on the right, piloted by my friend Dan, and a deck we haven't seen before, more so an engine we haven't seen before on the channel, Amazement, Eldlich on the left, piloted by my friend Matt. So these guys are rolling dice to decide who will go first or second. I believe Phantom Knight winning the die roll, and of course they're probably going to elect to go first here, being the combo deck that they are. But also, as we see the normal summon tour guide, let's take a look at the poll results so far. About 400 votes as I'm doing the commentary here, and about 71% of you guys saying that Phantom Knights is going to win. So a large majority of you guys voting for Phantom Knight to take the W here for round one this week, and let's see if you guys are correct. So Phantom Knights, of course, opening up very strong tour guide into Graf, into Cherubini. One of the strongest, if not the strongest, openings you could probably have next to, I want to say, maybe Torn Scales Boots. I know that is a very, very strong and hand trap resilient combo line to open, but this one will work just as well. Graf is going to summon out the Scarm, probably indicating that he's opened the Seer here. Some builds playing just Graf and Seer, some builds playing Graf, Seer, and Scarm for these exact scenarios you're seeing right now. Having a good card to still be able to summon off your Graf, because that's not an effect you really want to miss out on if you happen to just draw the Seer. And of course, it'll secure him some follow-up for next turn by being able to search Tour Guide during the end phase. So we did see the Cherubini dump Staingreaves here, actually. We'll see him banish the Staingreaves. That's going to go ahead and summon out a Cloak from the hand. And then we're going to see the Torn Scales go ahead and bring itself out. Also using Cloak effect here to turn itself to defense to go ahead and boost Rusty up by 800 attack. Kind of relevant. You know, 2900 body is going to be a lot harder to get over than a 2100 body. And of course, if you can keep Rusty on field, it's definitely more so advantageous because you can, you know, keep that zone open to be able to revive something like the Break Sword to be able to get a pop. And then most builds of Phantom Knight right now are ending on the IP. So you want that zone open to get the pop with your Break Sword and then be able to link into, you know, with the Break Sword and the IP into something like Unicorn. So we're going to see him get the 3 Material Appaloosa. Now we're going to see him banish the Cloak to go ahead and add the Boots. And then we'll see him probably summon the Boots here. Looks like he has a copy of Lancia in hand too. I believe the Lancia is main decked. Ash as well. So the hand is kind of stacked here, if I'm being totally honest. So Fogblade's going to bring out the Torn Scales. Boots is going to summon itself out via its own effect while it controls a Phantom Knight monster. And then we're going to go for a rank 3 is going to be Leviair here. Leviair is going to recycle that Cloak and then linking off the Leviair and the Cloak into probably IP Masquerena. Yeah, IP Masquerena being secured here. So not electing to go for the Fogblade pop, just sending on the Apo for 3. And then being able to link off here at any point with the Apo and the IP into something like Nightmare Unicorn. And then end phase, Scarm, go ahead and search Tour Guide. So like he could have made Break Sword there. Break Sword gets popped by Rusty. Break Sword effect to summon back the materials. And then make IP. And then, you know, you could potentially have that set up and everything. But like he doesn't have an extra Fogblade engraved currently. So there's no real way for him to be able to revive the Break Sword, unfortunately, during his opponent's turn, unless he like gets lucky and Fogblade something, and then the Fogblade hits the grave, and then he's able to use that then. But like that's kind of asking for a lot of setup. So but that'll do it for his turn. Not a bad end board for sure, but you know, that Appaloosa is not going to do too much here against the set tactic. And the Amazement cards, I actually really don't know what a lot of them do. I know they came out in Lightning Overdrive, but I really don't know what a lot of the Amazement stuff is capable of. I know it works well in various trap decks, like the one we're seeing here. See him lead with the Extrav, and then we're going to see him pitch Golden Lord alongside Hakero. So the Eldlich engine is definitely established at this point by quite a bit. Of course, Appaloosa is going to negate the Eldlich effect to send. Definitely can't afford to let that go through here. And I might as well go ahead and pull up the Amazement cards for myself so I know what they do. I've read a few of them in the past, maybe the Arlecchino and the Time Ticket, and I know Horror House is a really good trap for the deck too, but other than that, like I haven't read too many outside of that. I think a friend of mine Not the one on the camera right now, but another friend of mine played the deck for like a brief second, and then hasn't played it since. So, be interesting to see what the deck's actually capable of here. So, as expected, the set tactic doing what it does best and setting cards face down on his field, banishing a Caro to set one, and then that'll do it for his turn. So really not getting much value out of the Appaloosa, nor the IP. The 800 attack boost from the cloak will fall off. Now, he could have gone ahead and actually linked off the Appaloosa for a unicorn in the end phase and spun back a back row. I think that's honestly kind of worth it because I feel like, you know, Appaloosa's not giving you much value here unless you really want to play around a hand trap like a Nibiru or something, then I understand that. But also, like, getting to spin back a back row in the end phase for free seems pretty good. And also, you know, getting to discard something too could be also very nice. Of course, he doesn't want to discard the tour guide, but, you know. But either way, we're going to see tour guide. Bring out tour guide here. He's going to go ahead and link into Nightmare Unicorn, which now can't be destroyed by card effects. But, of course, he will have a chance to respond. And it looks like he is just going to go ahead and strike the unicorn. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that that was on the summon. Yeah, that had to definitely be on the summon. Otherwise, unicorn actually would not get destroyed because it was made with IP Masquerena. So we're going to see him banish Cloak here to search. And then since the PK was banished, Torn Scale summons itself out, summoning now that copy of Boots. So we could actually do quite a bit of removal here. And there's that Renault in the hand, part of the Assault Engine. Card you definitely don't want to draw, but it seems to be glued to my friend's hand just a little bit too much, which is unfortunate. But we're going to go ahead and see him overlay now. So yeah, you can definitely start picking off a lot of back row here. You know, use Bardiche Pop, you know, hit one of the sets, and then, you know, go ahead and use Break Sword to clear itself and another back row. So this is definitely going to force something here. And I imagine he's going to go ahead and use the Rusty effect because, like, removal, like rapid fire removal here is just going to be so good against a back row deck like this. Just make him burn a lot of cards. But he does have another Solemn Strike, so he'll take another 1,500, dropping him down to 5k total now after taking 3,000 points worth of damage from the Solemn Strikes. And then we're going to see him go ahead and banish the cloak from, or the gloves from grave to go ahead and dump the sword. So it has a revival trap in the graveyard now, so we can keep going here, just eating through these back row. Sword go ahead and banish itself. And he's going to go ahead and bring back out the Torn Scales. Can go ahead and make another rank 3. And since he didn't make a Break Sword turn 1, he can go ahead and make a second one. So Rusty effect, go ahead and get to pop now. There is the Horror House. The Amazement Horror House. Amazement attraction. It says target one Amazement monster you control, one face-up monster your opponent controls. Equip this card to it, and then you can activate the following effect based on which player controls the equipped monster. If you control it, target one effect monster your opponent controls negates effect until the end of the turn. If your opponent controls it, change the equipped monster to face down defense position. So that's what we're going to see him do. He's going to go ahead and set the Break Sword face down since the opponent controlled it. So basically acting like a Book of Moon there. And the Break Sword will not get to, or the Bardiche rather, will not get to pop anything because, well, I mean, the set it went to pop was already chained in response, so it doesn't matter. Now we're going to see him activate Scarlet Sanguine here. It's going to get negated with Ash, which is huge. It's one of the best things you possibly can Ash in this matchup. Turning off Scarlet's absolutely it's just really good. So good. Basically, you have to make them try again next turn by banishing more Eldlich traps in the grave. We're going to see a punishment get activated here. And we're going to go ahead and actually see him chain Break Sword. Not Break Sword. Fogblade in response. So he's going to go ahead and target the Rusty, since he's targeting Rusty with the punishment. He's going to go ahead and send Entis. So the reason I think he's doing this is just so we can get Fogblade in grave. Entis is going to get negated by Appaloosa. And now we're going to see Fogblade go ahead and bring back Rusty here. So playing through so many cards here, like unbelievable amount of things that just been played through here. Absolutely kind of bonkers. Very impressive also. Swinging for 21 and 800, so, you know, 2,900 damage, not bad. And, of course, Break Sword will be a threat next turn if it is not cleared. And if it does get cleared here, we'll be able to use the effect because Break Sword just has to be destroyed. Now we're going to see the amazing time ticket get activated here. Pay 800 life points, apply this effect depending on whose turn it is. Your turn, add an amazement card from your deck to your hand. Your opponent's turn, set one attraction trap directly from your deck, it can be activated this turn. Very, very, very good secret rare. Very, very good spell card to have here. So since it is his turn, he can go ahead and add an Amazement card from the deck to hand. He's going to go ahead and add the Arlecchino, the Amazement Administrator. It says once per turn, you can banish any number of attraction traps in your graveyard, then target that many cards your opponent controls, destroy them. You can only use each of the following effects of Arlecchino once per turn. If a trap card is activated, except in the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster or monsters, you can target one of those face-up monsters they can control. Equip one attraction trap from your deck to that target. So that's pretty nice, actually. So we're going to see Scarlet Sanguine go ahead and banish itself and go ahead and set one. And since a trap card was activated, you can special summon the card from the hand. And then he's going to be able to go battle phase here. Attempt to run over the Appaloosa. It's met with Fog Blade. So now it cannot attack or be attacked, and its effects are negated. And we're just going to see our Eldlich player set another card and end turn. Yeah, so unfortunately not able to get that much going on the last turn. He's going to flip the Break Sword up. Break Sword effect, go ahead and detach the Torn Scales. Torn Scales is going to go ahead and probably target either. I'm probably just going to go ahead and target itself here in the background. I was going to say you could get rid of the Fog Blade maybe, but like keeping the Arlecchino negated is probably pretty good. Because he is definitely going to probably be normal or special summoning a monster this turn. And then you don't want him to equip an Amazement trap from the deck, or an attraction trap, because he could equip like the Book of Moon, I believe, which would be pretty solid. Maybe he doesn't care about that here. So we're actually just going to see him pop the Fog Blade and go ahead and pop the other set, which ends up being a Conquistador, which is not going to do too much here if he doesn't have access to Golden Lord. And we're going to see the Break Sword get summoned back, which I don't think actually can be done. I think this is a mistake because the strike negated the summon of the Break Sword. But either way, our Eldlich player is just going to go ahead and concede here, and we're going to go ahead into game 2. So unfortunate that they didn't catch that. I don't really think it mattered too much at the end of the day. And both players are just heading into a game 2. So as these guys do, I want to mention a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist. If you guys are interested in picking up amazing playmats, deck boxes, sleeves, dice, etc., check them out at the link below. They sell all sorts of amazing TCG products. I've been using their stuff for a very, very long time. Very, very high quality. So go check them out. And if you guys want to support the channel in the process, don't forget to use my discount code WinnerKills10 off at checkout to save 10% off your entire order. And you do support the channel in the process. And if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, please feel free to use my affiliate link down in the description anytime you guys check out and shop. Using that link, a small bit of the revenue from your purchase goes back into the channel and helps out a ton for cards you're already going to be buying. So not really too much of an eventful turn from our Amazement Eldlich player, just setting 4 and passing. And our PK player leading with Danger Tsuchinoko, discarding a Fog Blade and summoning itself in order to draw. And looks like we're going to see what trap is this here? I'm actually not sure. I think this is the Amazement Attraction Cyclo Coaster. It says target one Amazement monster you control or one face-up monster your opponent controls. Equip this card to it. You can activate the following effect based on which player controls it. So your opponent, if your opponent controls it, add an Amazement monster from your deck to your hand. And if you do, send this card to the graveyard. So he's going to send the Cyclo Coaster to the graveyard to go ahead and add Arlecchino. And then Arlecchino is going to get to special summon itself since the trap card was activated. I'm assuming that's like a similar interaction to like how Multi-Faker works. So Arlecchino gets to hit itself onto the field here. And now he'd be able to have the opportunity to go ahead and equip from deck something like Horror House, I believe. And if I'm understanding these cards properly, he can go ahead and equip it with a Horror House to like Book of Moon, one of his monsters, which could be pretty impactful. Especially if it prevents him getting into Cherubini, or if he hits a really powerful normal like a Torn Scale or something. But we're going to see a Twin Twister fire off here, discarding Scarm. Huge to have Twin Twister right here. I hope he drew that off the Snake because that's a really, really clutch draw. It's going to force a Scarlet to go ahead and summon out Lord, and he's going to lose a Solemn Strike to the Twin 2. Very, very good here. So he's just going to have to play around this Arlecchino the best that he can, because that will be a Book of Moon if he equips the Horror House to one of his monsters from deck. He's going to normal the Torn Scales. That's going to trigger Arlecchino, and he's got the Forbidden Droplet too, the last 2 cards in hand, sending off the Kagamucha Knight and negating and having the Arlecchino. Now making it only 1,300 attack. So he's going to go ahead and link into Cherubini here, and he's probably really hoping that that last set isn't something like Solemn Strike. And let's see if it is. Otherwise, I mean, that might just be a blowout here if it's a Solemn Strike. At least he has End Phase Tour Guide coming to his hand off the Scarm. So, like, that he has that much going for him. So we're going to see him send a Graph off the Cherubini. Graph, summon Scarm, or not Scarm, summon Seer. And we're going to see a Dogmatic Punishment. Punishment is going to clear the Cherubini, and then Entis is going to clear the Seer. Seer effect to go ahead and summon back the Cherubini, and then Fogblade's going to go ahead and summon back out Torn Scales. Now we can go ahead and link off the Torn Scales and the Cherubini into Bardiche. Unfortunately, Torn Scales is going to get banished here because of the Fogblade effect, but he still gets to establish at least a Bardiche, right? Better than nothing here. Would rather have the Torn Scale engraved at this point, but he could technically go ahead and get another one, but like really no point in doing that. He's just going to go ahead and dump a Phantom Knight of the Silent Boots and set a copy of Fogblade. And I really don't know that there's much else you can do at this point. I mean, I guess you could argue like he could have like dumped Cloak, and then like added Boots and like set a Shade, summon Boots, make a Link 2. Like he could have done that, but like I really don't know how much that does you there. To be totally honest, he just goes Battle Phase, runs over the Arlecchino with the Rusty, and I think he's just gonna go ahead and go to End Phase, or you can just go ahead and search off of the old Boots, grab a copy of Sword, which could actually come in clutch here because it does have that protection effect. If it were be destroyed by battle or card effect once, I believe it's that card gets destroyed instead. And I think it also gives it an 800 attack boost, or that might be Wings. I might be getting them confused. So it's going to set the Sword and End Phase. No, End Phase Scarm is forgotten. No, you hate to see it. Oh, that's actually huge. For getting Tour Guide here, man, that's actually huge. And that's not something you want to be forgetting, as your opponent gets a Extrav, drawing into a Punishment and one other trap card. Hopefully you'll remember here at some point, because I imagine his opponent will let him just go ahead and grab it. This is just a locals after all. But I think that's Horror House and a copy of Punishment he drew into. Pretty okay draws here. But like, I mean, he does have Eldlich Engine here, which is good. So we can go ahead and banish the Sanguine at any point here to go ahead and grab a Conquistador, which is more removal and a Punishment on top of that. Just so much removal. Or no, he drew into a Trap Trick. So he's going to go ahead and send off Golden Lord and the Trap Trick to hit the set. It's the Sword. He knows the other one's Fogblade. And then we're going to see him banish the Scarlet. Go ahead and set Conquistador. And that's probably going to do it for his turn. He might go ahead and set another back row on top of that. But, yeah. That's so unfortunate that our PK player forgot that Scarm effect. That's just going to put him so behind here. Battle Phase, Lord is going to attempt to swing over the Rusty. And does he want to let it go through? Looks like he's going to. So we'll take just 400 damage there, I believe. And that is going to do it for his turn, unless he's got something else. So yeah, it looks like he'll pass. See what he draws for turn here. I believe he actually drew a Tour Guide, because I think I was watching the match in person at this point, because I had already finished my round one matchup. I think I was playing against Hero. And you guys are going to see me on the Earth Machine deck in a couple feature matches this week, so have that to look forward to. I believe I'll be on tomorrow on the next feature match playing Earth Machine against Subterror, so make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on to know when that video goes up. But now we're going to see the Sword go ahead and bring out Rusty, and now we're just going to see him activate a Punishment. Punishment's going to go ahead and target the Rusty. He's going to go ahead and send Entis here to get the double pop, right? Very, very high impact removal. And it looks like it's going to go ahead and go... If he has an Entis left, which if he does have two Entis left, but he's actually going to go ahead and send a Zeus And he's not going to pop the back robe just because it's a fog blade, right? That would give him an extender. So just leaving that on the field really isn't doing him too much harm. So just sending the Zeus. Actually, not sending Zeus, sending Entis instead. And now actually deciding to go through and popping the fog blade. So probably just, you know, wanting to get rid of the fog blade here just because the extender engrave might be okay, but like getting that off the field allows you to get damage in because you can go ahead and actually fog blade the Lord, and that'll prevent it from attacking, so he can stall to like turn after turn. Or no, I think he drew Ash for turn. So just unfortunately going ahead and have to set the Ash, and that's probably going to do it first turn. End phase, any Eldlich effects, none it looks like, and just pass turn there. And there's a copy of Time Ticket. Very, very, very good card to draw here. That's going to search him the Arlecchino, which just will get him more advantage, especially if he uses the Conquistador to get another 2600 body on the field. And does he have any Eldlich traps engraved he can use to trigger it? Right now, I don't think he does. So he might just have to summon Lord, or not just summon Lord, but just attack with Lord into a set Ash. And, yeah, I think you probably just pass turn there, and there he draws into the tour guide. Which is a little too late. You could have had it a previous turn if he would have remembered his Scarm Search, but we're into a game 3 situation. And I can only imagine Phantom Knight wanting to go first here, and you can tell this is 21 minutes into the video here. I had to speed this one up by 150%, so I think they only had about 6 minutes or so. I want to say going into this last game here. So Tour Guide, Kagamucha, Summoning Graph. You can see the plays here are getting a little bit faster because, again, time is ticking down, you know, coming close to the 0 mark. And nobody wants to play into time or have a draw, right? Nobody likes doing that. So we're going to see him link into the Cherubini with the Tour Guide and the Graph summoning out the Seer. No Cherubini effect, it looks like. Just going to go right into the Traveler himself, detaching Dante, milling Anti-Spell, Cloak, and Gloves. So really good mills here. Seer effect to bring back Graph. Tsuchinoko effect here. It's going to resolve. He's got 3 cards left in hand. Let's see if he's the American Sniper. And it looks like he is. So he's going to not get the summon and draw here. Just going to go ahead and get the summon effect from Grave. Going into Levier. Cloak effect. Go ahead and search a copy of Boots. And then we're probably going to see him link into a Rusty here. But he's actually going to need another Dark Monster on field, so he's going to have to probably get a different target. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and go for Torn Scale here. Oh, yeah, he can just actually use this Levier to go ahead and bring back Cloak and then link into Rusty. So, yeah, forgot about the Levier. Pretty good extender. And we're going to actually see him overlay both Levier and Dante into a F-Zero and then into Utopic Draco. So there's the Monster Negate ready. Also cannot be destroyed by card effects. So that's going to be able to shut down Nibiru at this point if his opponent did have it to begin with. I kind of like the Dante Levier into F-Zero better than I do like the double Levier, which I think is what most builds have been playing, at least from what I recall and seeing. But Dante seems a lot better just because like you have that higher ceiling opportunity of milling into Phantom Knights like we saw here. Hitting Cloak and Gloves is huge. Now we're going to see him go ahead and use a Gloves to go ahead and dump a Stained Greaves. Now banishing Stained Greaves. Summon out the Torn Scales from hand. Torn Scale effect, discarding Ash to go ahead and send a copy of the Phantom Knight Sword from the deck to the grave. And yeah, he already has another Ash in hand too, so like doesn't care about discarding the extra one there. Might be a tell that he has another one in hand. So yeah, Draco plus Ash plus probably IP Masquerade here. I don't think he's probably going to get to Appaloosa at this point, but like he definitely doesn't need it in this matchup. Like having Draco is nice just to stop the Arlecchino or the Lord, but you definitely don't need the Appaloosa. And he's also going to have the Fogblade set up in grave, at least I hope so. So linking for IP, Rusty setting another one, I think setting another Fogblade, and then adding another Fogblade from deck to hand here off of the Boots. So unfortunately no Fogblade set up in grave currently, so we're just going to see him pass. Yeah, but he like, I mean, I guess he doesn't need it. There's Pot of Extravagance. And we're going to see him go ahead and banish 6. Go ahead and draw 2. And that's probably going to get hit with Ash here. Like, you definitely Ash this 100%. Like, you don't want to let him draw into side deck cards or anything like that, like Droplets or Dark Ruler. You just really can't afford that to happen right now. Let him work with their opening 5. And we're going to see a copy of Time Ticket activate. It's going to go ahead and search the Arlecchino here. Don't know how much this is going to do because, like, I mean, a trap deck like this in Time is going to be very, very rough to, like, make any sort of plays with because you're not going to get a chance to, like, really do anything on your first turn other than draw some, maybe get a search of something like we're seeing here with Ticket and just setting a bunch of cards and hoping your opponent can walk into the trap cards next turn instead of just going right to battle phase and applying a lot of pressure and damage, which is exactly what you want to be doing in Time. So checking the graveyard here. End phase, will we see any effects? Looks like we'll see a Shade. And I think now he's going to attempt to go for the IP Masquerena effect to go into Unicorn. So, yeah, I think this is 100% correct here. Discarding the Fog Blade, which is huge. So, yeah, I mean, this makes much more sense now. He doesn't need the Fog Blade set up engraved to bring back the Break Sword to go into Unicorn with. He has the Shade already set up to do that. And then discarding the Fog Blade to be able to have an additional extender here in the end phase to bring back a copy of Break Sword. So, yeah. Looks like it will be successful. Bringing out Rusty, or bringing out Break Sword. Rusty effect popping a Torrential, which is really good to have for the next turn. And Unicorn spinning one back here. So already down 2 set cards. Go past turn. Now we're seeing Cloak effect to search Boots. And like at this point, you don't even do anything. Or you Twin Twister, like that's fine too. We'll see him chain Ice Dragon's Prison. And that's going to go ahead and banish a warrior. And with it, so yeah, Boots and Utopic Draco. He's going to get to summon Arlecchino, but it's just not going to be enough there. The other set was Sakero, so PK taking this one 2-1. Looks like you guys were correct in the polls this time around. And if you guys want to see more of my content, click on one of the videos popping up on the bottom of the screen right now. And last but not least, a special shout out goes to our Divine Level channel members, and they are Cadillacs84, Pony Star, Key Scissors, Tweeter0226, and Black Ninja Money.